Well, welcome back. That piece was Dream a Little Dream of Me, and it was performed by the Promenade Ensemble. Now, I have in studio with me Nikki Bush, and she is a creative parenting expert and a speaker and author on the subject. She is co-author of the books Future Proof Your Child, published by Penguin, and Easy Answers to Awkward Questions, which is a book on sexual development for 8 to 13-year-olds, which was endorsed by Childline. I think we all needed those books. This week is Child Protection Week, so we're going to explore your child and social media. Good morning to you, Nikki.
Hello, Tamara.
Well, first of all, what are some of the things that stupid people do online, or people who are acting stupidly, rather? Shall we be more polite than that?
Yes. Well, we're navigating new territory in the digital world, and parents themselves are at risk, let alone their children. It's a fact that 90% of people on Facebook, parents and children, do not activate privacy settings. Really? So, that's just how fundamental it really is. And it could be something else like, keeping your passwords in a very public space, or your banking, account details for logging in online, that you stick them up next to your computer. Sometimes it's really simple things that are convenient for us, but put us at enormous risk. When it comes to children, it'll be things like telling their friends the password for their smartphone. And then children are at risk that their friends will pick up their smartphone and phone jack it, which means that they will perhaps, open the phone up, download stuff they shouldn't download on your child's account, or send obscene messages out on behalf of your child to all of their friends.
Everything you don't want.
Everything you don't want, yeah. So, I don't think it's a case of being hysterical about the dangers of the online world. The offline world, the real world, is full of dangers too. And it's just a case of them not being physical, now they're virtual. And the problem with the digital world is that parents freak out because we can't hear our children speaking. They're texting. And so we don't know what they're doing. And so we think it's really bad and ugly.
Incredibly annoying, actually.
Very annoying. You think back to your own childhood. You used to come back from school, you used to pick up a phone, and your mum would say, but you've been with your friends all day. Why do you need to speak to them again? And it's the same with our children. We just can't hear them.
So really, it is a fact, social media. We're not going to get away from it. So what tools do we give our children to deal with it?
As you say, it's not a fad. It's a trend that is going to be ongoing. And we have to teach our children actually to protect themselves. So it's one thing to be there to protect your children, and that's how we start off when they're little. How do we teach them to cross a road? We do it with them. But when they're tweens and teens and they're starting to get into the world of social media and the online space, they're actually on an information superhighway. And I always say that people who hitchhike in the real world are two kinds of people. Those who are desperate and those who are ignorant. Desperate because they're out of options, and ignorant because they don't know any better. And our job as parents in both the online and offline world is to make sure that our children are neither desperate nor ignorant. And we would never let them cross that road when they're 4 years old without doing it with them and teaching them how to do it safely. So we have the same responsibility online. And it's, as I said, basic things like privacy, online privacy. We need to make sure our children understand what it is and why they need online privacy. A good example would be the fact that children are really into putting themselves out online photographically. We call it photomania. And kids today can just snap off a picture with their cell phone and instantly upload it via a social network or Instagram or Snapchat. Very, very quick. They can put themselves out in pictures and they can seem to be famous. Anyone today can be famous because of the internet and social media. What they have to understand is that if they're going to make that picture completely public, anybody can pass it on to any of their networks. And what may seem cool and fun today may really bite you badly later on in your life when you're looking for a job. Because without a doubt, recruiters, tertiary education institutions, they are Googling people. I've even found that I've been to a doctor where I walk in and, sit down and we start chatting, and I'll say, well, I'm really interested in your diagnosis of my child, for example, because of the work I do. And I've had the doctor say, yes, I know, I've Googled you.
Really?
And we'd be stupid really to go into business meetings today without Googling who we're going to be with if we've never met the person. So you can be tracked online very easily, especially, and here's another bit of advice for children and parents. Turn your geolocation settings off on your cell phone, because if you take a photograph with them switched on, it will tell the viewer
somebody can find you
where that picture was taken. So they can track you, they can trace you. And let's face it, just like in the real world, not everybody's nice.
No.
Not everybody has the best intentions for you. And with the online world, photographs can lie. And, an innocent 10, 11, 12-year-old doesn't necessarily think in those terms. They befriend somebody who says they're a 14-year-old boy or a 16-year-old girl, but that person could be 50 or 60 years old and of the opposite sex.
Now, I tell you what, Nikki, we're going to play our first piece of music. It's the Serenade by Domenico Cimorosa. The flautist is James Galway. Well, that was by Domenico Cimorosa, and it was called Serenade. Now, I have Nikki Bush in studio with me, and she's here to she's here to make sense of this changing world that we're living in and help us parent better. Now, when we were down at the Franschhoek Literary Festival, you mentioned something that sort of stuck with me, the whole thing around teaching your children how important it is, mind, body, and reputation. Can you just unpack that for us?
Tamara, what I really understand about today's children is that they don't respond to lectures and sermons. They're so used to getting messages on a small screen, 140 characters. And I'm actually not sure that they've changed that much. A dentist friend of mine said, you mothers, you get it wrong. You nag and you go on and on. Men, we say things in short sound bites, and the first 30 seconds is what counts.
Yes.
And after that, children will tune you out. And his children are now in their 30s. And I thought, what a wise piece of advice. And it got me thinking about this thing about sound bites. And I landed up in an inadvertent conversation over dinner with my children one day, and they were talking about the fact that one of their friends, age 10, had got hold of a very violent computer game. And it led to me saying, Dad and I will be there to protect you until a certain age and stage, and we will teach you how to protect yourselves. But as you become teenagers, you're going to have to look after yourselves when we aren't there for you. So when you're at parties, when you're at school, on camps, on tours, etc. And you're going to have to protect yourselves. Now, what's important is that you understand that you only have one mind, one body, and one reputation. Yes. Very short, sexy soundbite. Yeah. One body, you only get one. Don't put it at risk. That could be offline or online. Yeah. One mind, be careful what you listen to and see. You can never erase it. And one reputation. You only have one, and you only have to put the wrong photo up or vent your anger and frustration online to destroy your reputation. And it's a lovely one. When they go out at night to parties now that they're much older, I don't lecture them. I just hold up one finger. Because we've had many conversations, and this mantra sits atop many conversations. And I put up the number one finger, and they just look at me and they go, yeah, Ma, one mind, one body, one reputation. And I think that it's just a lovely emotional anchor. It's a lovely, if you thought of neuro-linguistic programming, they just have to think of the number one, and they get something, a self-protection mantra.
Yeah. And that reputation, I mean, I know a couple of people have said to me, whatever you put out there in the social media is like a tattoo, and it will be there forever, and you can't get rid of it or erase it. So be careful.
The internet remembers everything. And when I do my talks at schools, I have digital safety presentations I do for parents, teachers, and for learners. The thing that shocks learners the most, from grade 6 through to grade 12, is that the internet remembers everything. They didn't know that. They don't know that. And they can put something up and delete it, but what they don't realize is that the internet is backed up like we do backups on our own computers, or should do on a regular basis. The internet is backed up all the time. There are multiple copies of the internet all the time. There are time machines that record what's happening on the internet for posterity. So while it might not be on this version of the internet, it will be on another version. And you have no idea how many people have shared what you've posted on social media on their own timelines. So while you might delete something off, say Facebook, for example, somebody else has still got it on their Facebook timeline, and it can be found. So very important that our children ask themselves questions like, would I be proud of this story if it became the front page news on, say, the Sunday Times?
Yeah.
We've got to have enough conversations with them that they start thinking like that. What if this was the front page story of the newspaper? Would I be proud? What if my best friend's father saw this picture of me? What would he think? Yeah. And that what I often leave children with is, apart from one mind, one body, one reputation, is check yourself before you wreck yourself. Important to think twice, to post as if you're standing on the world stage. And it's funny, there are things they would never do in the real world. Never, ever. And when I suggest them, their faces are a picture. Like taking their clothes off on the school stage and taking a photo of themselves in public in the nude. They would never do that, and yet they choose to post naked selfies on the internet, and that's a bigger stage than just the school stage. So when you give children those kind of real analogies, they go, oh, and I can never get rid of it. Oh, that's even worse. So, talking to children in very concrete terms is so important.
Now, Nikki, we're going to play last piece of music with you. It's Georges Bizet's Jeu d'Enfant, and it's played by the Mexico City Philharmonic Orchestra. Well, that piece was by Georges Bizet, Jeu d'Enfant. Now, Nikki Bush is just helping us look at social media and children, but it's not just the children, is it, Nikki, who need to watch out?
Yes, I think tomorrow, being Child Protection Week, maybe one of the best things you could do for your children this week is to go and set those privacy settings on your own Facebook profile or social media profiles, and then think about the kind of photographs that you are posting online about your children. And if you haven't set those privacy settings, and if you have a public profile that's not set to any kind of private at all, anybody who comes across your profile will be able to see the photos of your children. So I think of young parents who so proudly post daily pictures of their child's development because it is so awesome to watch a child growing up. But remember, once again, not everybody out there has good intentions. And if your kid fits the bill and they start tracking your child, and you have got geolocation settings on, etc., they can find you. They can find your child. If you have older children, teens, and you've got that gorgeous 14-year-old daughter that you're so proud of, and you have a family holiday on the beach, and she's in a stunning bikini, be careful about where you post that picture. It's fine if you post it to be seen only, say, by family or very close friends. But if you make it public, it's just, who knows? Who knows who's going to come across that picture? And then the other thing is that as children get older, and I'm in this situation now with teenagers, they don't always want you to be posting pictures of them online.
No, they don't.
While you might think that they're looking great today, they might be having a bad hair day and think they look fat, ugly, spotty, greasy, or something else. And they might really resent you putting a picture up. And
so always ask.
Always, it's good manners. Just ask. And I often, when we're out and about, will take a pic of my kids, and my 14-year-old says to me, "Mom, you're not putting this on Facebook, are you?" And I have to promise that I won't. So, yes, get into a habit of asking permission, just as your children on social media should actually ask you permission too. Whatever we post online is like a personal and a family advertisement. It advertises our family values. It advertises what you stand for. What is your personal brand? And that's another learning curve that parents need to take their children through.
It's all good advice, Nikki. I mean, It makes such good sense. But we are, in a very new position. But I do think all your advice, everything that you've said, resonates. You've got a book coming out. What's that called?
At the end of July, Bookstorm is publishing a new book I've written with Arthur Goldstuck called Tech Savvy Parenting.
Okay.
So that comes out end of July. And then online, right now on my website, nikkibush.com, you can download a free ebook called Parenting Matters, which really is common sense, 21st century parenting wisdom, very short 27-page book that will inspire parents.
Oh, well, Nikki Bush, thanks so much for coming in this.